Salutations, mi gente. Welcome to another beautiful day above ground. It's your boy, NOXSOMA, here for another 15 minutes of fame. I'll tell you all about it right after this.
Our mission is to provide compelling, provocative, healing, life-enhancing content to a global, English-speaking audience. NOXSOMA Life Camp 2.0 is a global healing initiative, 7-year plan that aims to encourage, guide, and instruct individuals to elevate their vibrations, align their frequency with universe, and reconnect with source. Also, to benefit on this material plane, reality through improved health and wellness, happiness, humility, and abundance. As we reach our funding goals, we will be able to advance to the next phase of our calling. Thank you for supporting our effort.
Namaste, lovelies. Welcome to the next level of NOXSOMA Life Camp 2.0. We are cutting the time in half for your benefit and the benefit of your humble observer, MC, and host. And it's also kind of a throwback. But before I tell you the throwback story, just in case you don't know what namaste means, that is a word, I think it comes from Sanskrit. You'll hear a lot of Indians greet you like that, maybe not. It's been a long time since I've been around the Indian community. What I learned in the 90s, that would be the 1990s and not the 1890s, is that Namaste recognizes the God spirit in the other person. We recognize that we are the same. We are divinity. These eyes are the eyes of the divine, the eyes of universe having this human experience. And so is everyone else. Every other human, and indeed every other creature on this planet, is having an experience in this realm. They are different elements of divinity. It's not just every other person, it's every tree, it's every flower, it's every bug, the creeping things, the giants, the predators out there. Every one is having their own experience on this realm. The divinity in me recognizes the divinity in you, whether you recognize it in yourself or in me or not. And when I refer to this NVT as we the Trinity, that means that the divine spirit that is represented through this vessel. So when I say we the Trinity, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about divinity. And divinity wants to sense the sensual world. It wants to have this experience. It can only have one experience through this entity right here. So that's why it spreads itself out to many other life forms that we recognize. The, in quotes, problem is that these vessels are sensual and sensitive, and what a lot of folks focus on is the pain. There's no problem with pleasure. Nobody complains about having too much pleasure. No one complains about having too much gratitude or too much abundance. You know, like, man, you wake up in the morning and you start complaining about abundance. Now, like, my God, my life is just too good. I'm just full of gratitude. Gosh darn it. They And I'm talking about those who believe this, believe and often say that pain and suffering is the default mode of the human vessel. I don't believe it is. However, for their purposes, it is, because that makes those who believe that they are in pain and that they suffer, that makes them consumers. It's just like the medical industry. You know, the healing industrial complex will tell you, because Gautama Siddhartha said this, that suffering is basically the human condition. Well, I'm not going to tell you absolutely that it's not, but we have decided that it is not for us. We do not suffer suffering. We do not suffer pain. We do not suffer dumb shit. In our simulation, it is at best 50% of the experience. And with awareness and with what we call the 7 daily wins, you can reduce that to 30-25%. You can have the vast majority of your experience on Earth be not suffering. This seems like a good path to take through the end of this year for our NOXSOMA Life Camp 2.0 series. This, along with imagining the geopolitical landscape without getting too emotionally involved in it. It's another year of real life fitness, my friends. In the gym, out in the park, on the monkey bars, getting the job done. We are thriving in 25. It's Serenity year, but we don't slack. We got to get our groove on, get stronger, access the bodybuilding protocol, and we got something special for you behind the curtain. Everywhere we are is good fitness, and it's positive exercise, positive results, Fortnite protocol, monkey bars, Jimmy Jam, park workout. Join us. Let's get into the second part of what seems like is going to be our episode for today. Now, we have an idea, we the Trinity, have this idea about what's going on the planet. We suspect that US, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and maybe even Saudi Arabia are working together to craft a new world order. We will call it a pseudo-suspicion. And in the tradition of pseudoscience, we're going to project it, and then we're going to look for news, activities, and events that take us in that direction. For example, just last week, which would be the last week in March, the US announced that it is going to pivot its attention towards China, because China is now the #1 threat to the United States. You know, the economy, to our freedom, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now how does this appear that this group is working together? Well, that means that the US is no longer involved in the Ukraine conflict with Russia. So the US doesn't have to deal with Russia anymore. It leaves Russia, Ukraine to the EU. So is this for real? Or is it just an excuse to leave the Russian conflict that is said to be a US war now? US is out of it, so they say. Trump cannot openly be seen to or even appear to be on friendly terms with Russia in the personification of Putin. Every time he does, they start talking about romance, they start with the insults, all this kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. So it has to be done undercover. It has to be set up like the US and Russia are looking for peace, while Ukraine and the European Union, and in fact the Democrats in the US, are now looking to further the war. This is how we're framing it. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. We, the Trinity, or your humble vagabond, we don't have a personal stake in it. No more than, let's say, we don't want nuclear bombs falling on the peninsula. I think this is enough for this episode. This is the perspective of, just a regular guy. Maybe there are other regular guys out here who are a little bit savvy what's going on in the world, or maybe they believe they're a little bit savvy, but they're looking at a picture maybe that's very similar to the one I'm looking at, or the one that's 180 degrees out. Or maybe they look at the analysis and the news and whatever their feed is feeding them, and they're saying, man, World War III is inevitable, US collapse is inevitable, dollar collapse is inevitable. But I just don't think that's so. Not because of any exceptionalism by the US or the US population, the New Atlantis, any of the mythology of why America was conquered, the natives genocided, and we are here today. Has nothing to do with that. I think that there are forces on the planet that are riding the pendulum swing towards peace, prosperity, and abundance. We feel that the global South has had it with European imperialism, and maybe there's a generation, once again, demographics, coming up in the United States that is learned and diverse enough to be fed up with European and a derivative US imperialism on the planet. So that's how we see it, and this is why we see it the way we have described it. And remember, folks, everything is subject to change. A bomb can be dropped anywhere at any time. This is the direction we're going with NOXSOMA Life Camp 2.0. It's very similar to NOXSOMA Life Camp 1.0, except we're focusing on the healing, the alignment, the spiritualism, as well as the materialism, the global situation, and the threats that we deal with every day. Thanks so much for joining us and subscribing. We appreciate you, and we'll see you for the next episode. Peace.
This program is made possible by viewers like you. No sponsors, no affiliates, no grants, no foundations. Just your subscriptions and contributions. Thank you.